Okay, we're planting flowers today. So we're going to do this, we're going to plant some geraniums in this ceramic pot. The pot was painted with ultramarine blue plus white, and then the vine coming out of that is, the flowers were cadmium orange plus a little bit of cadmium red light, and cadmium orange plus cadmium yellow, and then a little bit of cadmium orange plus some alizarin crimson, and that gives us that rusty orange flowers. So now I start working on the geraniums, and the blossoms I paint first because I want my flower color to stay nice and bright. So as I work, I normally paint flowers first and leaves last. When you're painting, your brush has a tendency to pick up some of the paint underneath. And if I painted the greens first, when I went back to put the red flowers on there, my brush would pick up that red, and red and green make kind of a brown, so I wouldn't want to do that. So paint my flowers first, and the deep red is cadmium red deep plus a little bit of alizarin crimson. And this is just pure cadmium red deep there. And then my highlight is cadmium red light. So I do my flowers first. Let's do one up here. And I have some geraniums out in my garden that I can see out from my window, so I actually have my live models out there. And since I've got these flowers here, I'm going to let the leaves come in here to give a little separation. Okay, so clean out my brush and my thinner. One of the secrets to clean pretty colors on your canvas is a clean brush. So I clean out my brush and my thinner. I go through a lot of toilet tissue. So this is called a bright brush. It's got a square end, and you could see when I was doing these geraniums, in fact here I'll show you, I can use that corner to make the smaller brush strokes. And then I can use the flat edge to make larger, broader strokes. It's a very versatile brush. I really prefer them. I'll use a filbert now and then, which has a more oval tip. But the majority of my brushes are the brights. Now I start working the greens in and around my geranium blossoms. And these greens are mixtures of phthalo blue plus lemon yellow. That gives you a nice, bright, crisp green. Again, I keep wiping my brush out. Now I want this to be a little bit darker here. Since we've got that light water back there, I want this to be a little bit darker in here. Jeez. Let me show you here something. You can see when I come down here, see how my brush picked up that red? Well, if I had painted the greens first, then when I painted the red, and I'll show you, brush out here. Painting the red, if I painted the red over that green, see how my brush picks up the green? So I'd have to be very, very careful not to get that red muddy. So that's why I paint flowers first, leaves last. If I pull a little red into my leaves, that really doesn't matter, but I don't want to pull green into my red flowers because that then mutes the color, and I want my flowers to be nice and bright. Now I do bring a little light in here. If you'll notice, if you've seen a lot of my paintings, I do love geraniums. They're just one of my favorite flowers, and we've had that really cold weather recently. Now it's spring and the stores are beginning, the nurseries, and like my grocery store is starting to get geraniums. So I've actually found some that put out in my garden, and they just make my heart happy. I just love geraniums. So fun to paint them and add them to paintings. I seem to add them in just about every painting I do. I guess they kind of, geraniums and bougainvilleas are sort of my signature flowers. And sunflowers, can't forget those. If I were to be a flower, I think I'd love to be a sunflower. They're determined. They grow just about anywhere. You'll see them growing out of a crack in the concrete. Determined, resilient, and I love them. I can't look at a sunflower without smiling. And so they're a happy flower, and that's what I would want to be if I were a flower. And the light is coming from our sunrise. You can't see it in the video, but I showed you a complete picture of the complete full painting, and you can see that the sunrise. So this portion of the geraniums is going to be a little bit lighter. And then these geranium leaves come down over the vine. And I added the vine with heart-shaped leaves. And that just adds a little bit of romance to this painting, because this is from the terrace where my collectors spent a few days of their honeymoon. And so this is a remembrance of that. So we want to add a little extra romance in there. So I've added the heart-shaped vine, the vine with the heart-shaped leaves and the orange flowers, and I wanted to add the orange flowers in there because that gives us some just vibrant color in the foreground that helps give depth into the painting. Because muted, softer colors go back, and the more vibrant colors, the warmer, vibrant colors come forward. And your oranges, yellows, and reds are the warmer colors, and that's how we give the feeling of depth in our paintings. So getting these blocked in. And so this is how I block in my geraniums. Be careful to work around this little vine here. But you can see I can use that corner of that brush and really get pretty, fine detail working around that. Let me add a few little of the stems just so you see how I do that. And I'm going to take my maul stick. We got these at the Container Store. It's a hook that's designed to lift clothes off of a tall rack in a store, or if somebody, has one of those double-decker closets, they can use it for that. But it's perfect to hook over the top of my easel, and then I can just steady my hand. I brace my wrist on it, and then I can just steady my hand as I paint the finer detail. I hold the brush back at the end, and even though this sounds weird, you actually have more control of the brush if you hold it at the end. These long-handled brushes. It just is. I don't know the reason why that is, but if you hold it up close and try to paint, you get the jiggles in your hand. Whereas if you hold it back, you don't get quite the jiggles. These stems will be a little bit lighter because that sun's coming through. And then the little blossom buds, or not seeds, the buds for the flower are here underneath the geraniums. And that's one of the characteristics that make these, when you add those, that makes this say I'm a geranium. So this is how we add those little flower buds. And I'll do this on all the flowers. I have to just gently lay this paint on, because if I dig too hard, then the paint won't stick. So I have to kind of just lay it on the canvas. I really appreciate you watching my YouTube videos. If you want to see the rest of this painting and the progress, the step-by-step progress, I have the complete progress of this painting in my blog, and the link is in the description below. Just go down below the video to the description, and that link will take you to the blog on this painting. And that way, if you want to know how I painted other parts of it, you can go to that and see. So I thank you so much. You have a wonderful, wonderful day. And just remember, today is just practice kindness. Be kind to somebody. If you're out and about and see somebody that needs some help, give them a hand. Or give somebody a smile. You just never know how that smile will brighten up their day. Well, I guess with our masks now we can't do that. But anyway, tell them hi. Just tell them to have a great day. And you have a great day, and thank you so much.